And who has headaches with technology like Sunfire or Connecture or whatever, right? Okay, man, it's amazing. Most people in here have never knocked doors and have no headaches with technology. What a great group. So, we have a lot of headaches with technology, but a lot of times when we hire somebody who comes into the industry using tech, they're immediately thinking about the problems of that tech. They don't know anything about the problems that came before that technology, right? So just a little bit of more recap here. 2015, I decided I'm going to go digital. I learned how to prospect and sell. I was doing well at that, but I felt like there was a better way. I researched a lot of stuff online and started doing Facebook marketing for consumers. Had some great success with it in 2015. 2016, I started to build a team. I'd won a couple of trips and been around some groups that were hiring career-minded agents. What we talk about building an LOA teams, where we're paying them salary, base pay, plus commission. And we started building out some of those guys and tried to scale that team, that success we were having on Facebook. Like all things, marketers ruin things. Facebook got crowded at some point, and so the success we were seeing on there diminished. While it's still a lot of success there, a lot of times I'll have people tell me, I tried Facebook leads, they don't work. Well, it's a lot harder to get them on the phone than it used to be. And because it started getting harder, we had to start developing technology to help us beat the door down metaphorically through phone systems, et cetera. The thing about those leads is, they're putting that phone number in for you, they're probably putting it elsewhere, and their phone's just blowing up. And whether they ever submitted a lead anywhere or not, somebody from Pakistan is probably calling them anyway, and just blowing the phone up. So they don't answer the phone the way they used to, right? So it gets harder and harder and harder. The psychology of the consumer changing makes it more difficult to get in front of people. And so technology and marketing are both this constant variable. There's no way to be like, I figured out my marketing, my technology, and I never have to change anything, it's good. It's just not a way to do that. Now, maybe there is, but that's the exception. When I talk about the rule, and the rule is there is no way. You might find some honey hole that nobody else exploits, but for the most part, there's not really a good way to never have to adapt. The consumer will adapt, the technology will improve that is available, and you will want to adapt or you'll have to adapt. So we continue to adapt. So years ago, we started building out our own system called GoGuru. And GoGuru is a marketing and CRM kind of platform where we wanted to make sure that we could, through automation, use SMS, text, emails, whatever, to get in front of people. And then we wanted a platform that would evolve. So we partnered with a company that many of you probably are heard of called High Level. And we started building out something for ourselves called GoGuru. And then we built a team around it. And right now we're about 52 W-2 staff members, and about 6 of those, I think 6 now, are full-time working on that system, and we began to lease it to other agency owners around the country that were looking for something that would do exactly what we wanted to do for our own system. So probably the biggest difference between us as a tech platform for other agencies is that we're actively using the platform to do the things that most of our partners on the agency side want to use it to do. So a lot of times we go out and we kind of run through walls and figure out something that works, and then we can go and find our partners on GoGuru and help them replicate the same processes and have the same success. With a lot of platforms out there, they're not really using it. They're kind of learning off of your mistakes. You go out and spend money on ads or marketing or processes, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But they didn't really have any skin in the game because you were paying them all the while. So we'll pull up GoGuru on the screen. This is our platform right here, GoGuru. And when we first got a CRM, it wasn't GoGuru. We had an in-a-box CRM. I won't name the name. They're a good company, but it was very digital database. That was it was really what it was. It was like a very pretty searchable report building spreadsheet. So we went from paper files to Excel to we had paper files and Excel simultaneously. And then we went to this CRM, and it was basically great at first because it was like, oh wow, we have this database that's so easily findable. We can attach PDFs and recordings and all that. Well, actually back then it wasn't recordings, but we could attach things to it, all that kind of stuff. And that was great but it wouldn't do anything to actually help us market. It wouldn't do anything from a communication perspective. And so this is why we started building this. So Will's going to pull up GoGuru and kind of go through some stuff here, and I will try to narrate and turn over to him when he has to. But Will, go ahead and talk about like when people start coming on with their agencies looking for help with technology, what are the things that mean the most to them or that they ask about the most?
I would say that with the amount of agents that I've spoken to about this, as a general rule, I'm going to assume that you are a professional agent and not a professional tech person. So the whole concept behind this is, like Justin was just saying, we're going to run through the walls and we're going to figure out what's going to work, and then we're going to put it into your hand. And that is primarily what we're asked for, is what does the service look like on this? And this is not me turning this into any sort of sales pitch for GoGuru. It's just what we built, and it's just the way that it works. Because we have built this in a way where we've centered it around a growing agency with, right now we mainly focus on our LOA shop, and a lot of people are trying to build those things, but whether or not you're doing that or you're just doing recruiting for your downline or whatever the case is, they're like, well, how can I link them with you so that I can continue to sell? Because I have to sell, like that's what my primary role is here. So primarily the most important thing for people is, can we reach you? And if we have a problem, can we get the problem solved? And that's the reason why we've created the team dedicated to GoGuru specifically, with the expertise of agency building and recruiting all together.
Yeah. And then on the tech side, I think the things that are the most fruitful or have been the most fruitful for us are automated review process.
Oh, yeah.
Getting people, getting the customers you're talking to actively review your business on multiple platforms, grow that online presence that way. We have completely done for you systems. So pull up like reputation management for a second. And then we'll pull up just some of the automation builders, this concept. What many of you are competing with big call centers that have all of you really are. We all are. You're competing with the people with the most money and the most technology. And it's actually, the playing field is leveling, because years ago, which was just a few years ago, really, just like 3 or 4 years ago, the call centers in the space like eHealth, SelectQuote, GoHealth were operating in a different way than you, because they had different agreements with carriers where they could, like, let's say, actually it was maybe 5, let's say pre-COVID, there were these different agreements where they were able to do things in a telesales format that was more difficult for an agency or a smaller agency, an independent agent or a brokerage locally to do. COVID kind of sped the concept of phone sales up, because they started realizing, holy crap, we can't require all these people to go sit face to face with people. And so it started to levelize, taking the same thing that eHealth, SelectQuote, GoHealth, those types of groups were doing before, and allowing an agency to do that. But then it was, how does the average agency go out and build this system that maybe they've spent $250,000, $300,000, $5 million, whatever, building this huge Salesforce database out and everything. But the tech has really come full circle, and through systems like GoGuru, other ones that are out there, there's plenty of systems. You can now be operating under the same communication guidelines, the same quote and enroll software, the same, basically the same carrier tools, the same connections, even reporting is getting there, where you're operating at the same intensity and speed that they were, so it's like leveling the playing field. And so I still see and meet with a lot of agents that are doing things extremely analog, and they're struggling to grow because they have no process to offload their busy work, and they can't get to enough revenue to feel justified in hiring people to offload. Because what we want to do is create a process through technology to offload enough busy work so that I get to that next level, and then eventually I need people, because processes only go so far. This is another just caveat here. So many people are wanting to automate things to a certain point where they never have to hire someone and they can just keep scaling. At a certain point, you got to have people, guys. I mean, we have 52 W-2 employees, and we work with thousands of agents around the country. And everyone at some point has to hire somebody. Like you can't have 100,000 clients with no damn employees. It doesn't work that way. But you can probably have more than you do now, because we work with so many agencies that come up on AEP or the open enrollment period, and they're, just hammered with service work and trying to retain their book. And they have no people and they have no process. And so the process is, on the reputation management side, we basically have it completely automated. You want to go over it, Will?
Yeah. So reviews are one of the easiest ways that you can grow your business very organically. It's something that you can put into place pretty much immediately. And what we've done is made it so that as long as you have created a Google My Business account, you have your password, you have your login, you can integrate that directly in. What that does is that ties into the platform that you're seeing on the screen here. We have it set up now so that anytime you get a review, you can decide how you want those reviews to come in and how you want to respond to said review. So if you kind of say you got a 4 or 5 star, a 4-star or 5-star review, I'm fine with that. I'm just going to send them a thank you for reviewing, thank you for telling us what you think. If you ever need us, get in touch with us. But anything 3 and below, I know that there was a problem, whether that be with the agent or something like that. So it's not just to increase your visibility on Google, which it will. The more reviews you have, the more visible you will be. It is how Google works. It is how they will reward you for that. However, in our business, retention is the name of the game. So immediately, if you can see somebody who is unhappy with your service, you can reach out to that person, fix the problem, retention then gets higher. Putting all of this together is extraordinarily easy to do. Like I said, anytime that you get a review, you can set it up so that you have auto responses. So if it's a 4 and 5-star review, that goes out. If it's not, then you're going to be getting in touch with them to try to get them to change that review. Tying it all in, like I said, very, very simple to do. Once you tie and integrate your Google account in, your link comes up. The whole concept behind this is, if I'm bringing somebody into the CRM and I mark them just as, and this is where automation comes in. It's not complicated, but it can get into the weeds a little bit. But as soon as you bring them in, mark them as an active client, that's the trigger, right? Now I have an active client, I want that person to receive a review request. So this stuff is happening without you having to manually put your hands on it, send manual text messages, send manual emails, wait on them to come back. Did they fill the review link out? Yes, great, thank you. Did they not fill it out? Okay, it's going to go down this path and it's going to send them another request. Say, hey, I know things get busy. It helps us out a ton for these reviews. And the more you ask of them, especially if you've done right by them and they trust you and they want to stay with you, they will leave you a review. So the concept behind this is, though it sounds simple, it's extraordinarily powerful for your agency, and you'd be surprised at how many people who don't employ this kind of thing. Moving down, you can decide how you want these sent, SMS reviews, email reviews, it all ties into the same thing. They're all getting the same link. And then that's just, just one portion of the system. Again, it's just about simplicity and making it so y'all aren't having to touch as much and you're still getting back the maximum return.
Yeah, so that's one of the big ones that people come to us for. When you get into automations, though, it's crazy. Like I can have it where I'm running a Facebook ad for, let's say it's a webinar, a Medicare educational webinar. And when that person signs up for the webinar, they're entering an automation that adds them to a pipeline where they're getting a specific text up until the time of that webinar. If they click the trigger link that we have set up, which is independent to them, every time it's automatically generated, then it adds them to another pipeline stage that says they have gone to the webinar page. Once they have that happen, you could have it in the automation where it removes them from a custom audience on Facebook, or adds them to a custom audience on Facebook, which you have as an exclusionary audience, so that you don't send the same ads to the same people over and over. And those are seem like complicated concepts, but once you have it set up, it's just such an easy thing to do. And the people that you're competing against, if you're working digital ads, who are people running Facebook ads? Raise your hand if you're running Facebook ads. Still just a few. Most of the people in this room are not insurance agents, Emily. Is this like one of those George Soros funded rallies full of fake people? Is that what this is? So anyway, the point is, like, with the automation, like, you can be way more efficient conceptually with the way that you run Facebook ads. There's a lot of people that are just going out there and running, bam, a blitz ad in an area, and they're not actually going out and removing and adding to their audience to build a more credible set of data that they're targeting. And automation allows you to do that. There's kind of a sky's the limit amount of things that you can do within the system. There's even AI components now. And there, guys, the term AI gets thrown around too much. A lot of times people are selling you an AI concept that's nothing more than if-then logic. So the difference is, if I have if-then logic, it's like, if my client is marked active, then add them to this stage and send them this text. That is not AI. That's me telling it a predetermined exact thing to do. AI is actually thinking on its feet and making real-time decisions based on available data that far exceeds exactly what you tell it to do. But in the systems now, and a lot of systems have this out there, but we can communicate and text in a way that is not the same every time, so that it can actually have conversations. Because a lot of the problems with like text communication with if-then logic is to say, if he says yes to this question, then respond with this. But with AI, he could say, piss off, and it would still have responses or, ways to talk to it that would sound, reasonable. It would come back and say something like, I'm sorry if I offended you. Whereas if it was if-then logic, it would just be like shut down, because it'd be like, I don't know what to do, And so anyway, the communication gets better and better, through these systems. But who is running a CRM? I bet there's two in the audience. Who runs a CRM? Who uses one? Who's using paper files only? Who's using Excel or Google Sheets? All right. So anyway, the amount that can be done in there is insane, and the amount of things that can be done. Like when I came into the industry, I had to walk to the office in the snow, barefooted, with all of my paper applications on my back. It was uphill. It was. No, both ways, somehow. I don't, know how it happens. Physics isn't my thing. I was going the wrong way on the way home. But no, for real, when many of you came into the industry, I'm assuming you were faxing paper applications. Does anybody have to mail Medicare Advantage applications to people's houses for signatures because you were told you couldn't write them over the phone? Did you have to do that? That sucked, You ever mail one and you're like, I really hope this comes back. I really am. Hey, you ever get one back in AEP December 9th in the mail? Or December 14th or something like that? That sucked, right? Those kind of processes were antiquated. Sunfire, Connecture, platforms like Enroll Here that are coming up, Health Sherpa, these platforms have made that way simpler. And sometimes it's easy to come into the industry after tech exists to solve a problem and be like, this tech is not working. But I promise you, staying after work in AEP till 9 p.m. faxing in applications one at a time and waiting on each confirmation sheet just so you have proof when they tell you they didn't get it that you freaking sent the damn thing. It's way better now, right?